Hey good people, Batavia here. So we've been planning all winter long and we're in the spring now. It's time to plant. Our last video we did kind of a state of the garden. We walked through and kind of surveyed. We took a look, backyard garden space, front yard garden space, the list and actual transplants that we'll be putting in for spring. I realized we didn't talk at all about what I was direct sowing because there's going to be a number of things we're actually direct seeding or direct sowing. So to start off, planting. 2 spaces behind me. This is actually, these beds have performed the best year over year. So for these 2 spaces this year we're going to do sweet onions, a yellow sweet onion and a red onion, Weathersfield. First time I've grown that one. Both long day, which is what's generally recommended for the north. I'm in Chicago, Illinois. So we're going to do those. The sweet onions, the yellow sweet onions are going to be more so for storage, fresh eating as well. Red onions, I love a good pickled red onion. So there's that. Here we're going to do direct sowing, because I didn't mention again that at all when we were talking about what I was going to be actually planting. We're going to do carrots on the inside, like kind of the middle rows, and then we're going to do beets, which I'll say this every year. This is the annual declaration of, I can't believe I'm someone who loves beets, but I'm someone who loves beets. So roasted beets in particular. I enjoy pickled beets as well. A little bit more work than a roasted beet, but we're going to do 2 types, golden beet, which is a favorite, then red cylindra, I think it's how it's pronounced. Primarily because I have those seeds. I don't feel like those are as earthy as I've had other red beets. So we're going to do those. And then I looked at the train schedule because I thought I had my timing right to avoid the trains. But just a second. So after the trains, I had to wait for the planes to pass. And I was trying to hold on to my train of thought, but I lost it. These are going to be more long time producing. Carrots and the onions are going to take quite a while. We're talking in months they'll be ready. Beets will be ready probably in like about 2 months. Carrots a little bit longer. But then we have everything else that we need to plant. The lettuce, the broccoli, the potatoes. There's so much. But this is the beginning. Let's dig in. So many sounds. I'm trying not to be a nervous Nelly, but I'm a little bit of a nervous Nelly. Okay, so just as a sidebar, the latest in the day I've seen a raccoon in particular was 10 a.m. this year. So that, yeah. All right, moving on. Okay, doke. So for planting, good, better, best. Good is whenever you feel like doing it. Better is maybe a day just before you're going to get some rains, not a downpour, but just maybe a bit of rain, and you can get your plants in, or you can actually direct sow before that rain comes down. And then the best would be an overcast day. You can even combine just before it rains and when you feel like it. No, in all seriousness, ideally I would want to do this on an overcast day or later in the afternoon after the sun has started to set. And that's not my circumstance now, but I really want to try to get something done. Favorite garden accessory is this black netting. I use it primarily for the stray cats that roam around my yard, and thank goodness for them, because in my mind I know that they keep away the mice. The mice and the raccoons are like, that's where I draw the line. Big fears. So anyway, this has been on all winter, no issues. I am always looking at a space thinking how I can improve it. These hoops, which are just PVC pipes, start off at 10 footers. I cut down based on the space. I think I cut it down to about 7 feet, not exactly sure. But this has really worked well because I can put the netting, I can put, the cloth that I use in order to help protect mostly my cold crops or brassicas from the cabbage moth, cabbage butterfly, and ultimately the worm. I can even use it to put a tarp on later in the season if I need. If I were to use something like shade cloth, I could use these hoops. But I think for this space, ideally, if I was setting it up anew, I would basically do an A-frame. So PVC pipe straight up and then create the A-frame. I may come back around and do that this season, not sure, but for now we're going to work with what we have. So quick cleanup. If I were planting like larger plants, larger transplants in this space, I wouldn't actually pull the mulch back. I would basically take every plant, dig a hole, put in a little bit of compost and a little bit of fertilizer for that space, just plot the plant in. Because the transplants that I'm going to put down over here for onions and they're smaller, I'm going to take an extra step. I'm actually going to get my hard rake, although I love this tool as well, and pull all of the mulch back. This is just straw I pick up from a hardware store. Add a layer of compost, some granular fertilizer, and then I'll have a clean path to create some rows for my onions, and then spaces for the things I'm going to direct sow. So again, not necessary, generally not necessary at all, but based on the way I want to approach this bed this year, I'm taking this extra step. We're going to get the hard rake, make easier work of this. I keep on saying we're going to plant, but we're going to plant. All right, so clear the old debris, the old plants, amending the beds, what we're doing now, and then we're going to drop some things in the soil. Okay, doke. So remember how we talked about, plant just before it's gonna rain. All right, so I missed that window. I got as much as I could get done, like on my lunch break, and so now we're basically, sun is starting to set, although it's still peeking up. I covered them because we had rain showers. It was supposed to rain for like 30 minutes, and that's about all that we got. But everything else is pretty much dried up since then, so I probably did need to cover it, but I just didn't want to come back out here now and have to deal with too wet of a bed. So anyway, let's get to it. One of the reasons that I like the idea of an A-frame, the hoops basically are going to curve over, so it's something like the onion leaves start to get thicker and wider and taller, they end up pushing down, like whatever netting I have, and the hoops on here end up pushing against that. Now of course, if I didn't cover the beds with anything, they just grow straight and eventually flop naturally, but an A-frame gives me a little bit more structure, and that's one of the reasons why I like that as kind of a way to manage these beds. But for now, especially when they're smaller, this will do just fine. So I'm going to do about 4 to 6 inches apart as far as the onions, and the metal part of the spade is about 6 inches, so I'll plant them kind of side by side and use that as my guide. I'm going to get pretty close to the edge when you think about how big an onion bulb can get. I mean, even a large one, like that'd be pretty big, a nice size onion. So I want to make sure that I have enough room when I'm actually planting them and they grow, for it to have room to grow around. These are the yellow onions. I started indoors by seed on February the 13th. And then they were a nice size. I started bringing them outside to harden off the first week of April. And here we are. It's the 21st of April. Onion roots are really forgiving, so they're getting broken up a little bit, but that's okay. I see people oftentimes plant them when they seed them pretty densely with the intention of breaking them apart. I actually would have wanted more onion seedlings in each of these little cells, but I guess maybe I didn't get my seeding right when I started, but I still think I'll have plenty. I am notorious for doing this and ending up realizing my rows are a little bit crooked, but that sometimes happens. In hindsight, I should have started with one of the center rows and worked my way backwards so I don't have to lean over the plants that I have. So I'm going to stop at this kind of halfway through the bed and do another row next to it while it's still easy to reach the center. Okay, doke. So a floppy mess, right? But that's okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows across. Those are the yellow onions, and then I still have some starts for the red onions that I'm going to put in the rest of this bed. I didn't get to the second bed with the carrots and the beets, but that's okay. We'll try to get back out tomorrow morning before work. Otherwise, I'll come out on my lunch break to get that done. I am pretty pleased with the kind of look and the size of the onion start, so that works out well. I'll still have some left once I finish this bed, so we'll put those in various spaces in the garden. This is such a win. The very first garden bed for the season planted. I'll put an asterisk around the garlic that went in February, but for spring, how about that? First garden planted for spring. We're wrapping it up. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them below. I appreciate y'all spending some time with me, and I'll see y'all on the next one.